Paul Graham, he's the water chief in Heber
When
Springs.
did Carl pass
He's a
away?
retired fire captain with Heber Springs
About
Fire.
3 years.
He wants to tell them about our backup station.
Mics are hot.
He wants to take a tour of that. He's gonna have to see yeah, that's what you
Oh.
Stuff up there.
Hey, Gary.
Oh, you're fine.
I'm so short, y'all look around.
Oh, I can see right between the two of you.
Wide open, short.
Okay. Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting to order at 6:30 in the evening on March 18th. Who would like to give a prayer tonight? Mr. Hall, yeah, Miss. Yes, sir.
Please join me. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, thank you so much for all the blessings that you have given us. Dear Lord, thank you so much for this beautiful weather that we're enjoying. Dear Lord, thank you so much for this council and what they do to this community. Please put your hand on them tonight, dear Lord, and guide them to whatever they do is to glorify your name. Forgive us for our many sins. In Jesus' loving name we pray. Amen.
Thank you. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Hall is absent. Councilmember Chapman.
Here.
Councilmember McMahon.
Here.
Councilmember Hefner.
Here.
Councilmember Brooke.
Here.
And Councilmember Rubel.
Here. And we have a quorum. First up on the agenda tonight is review and approval of the February 25th council meeting minutes. I would entertain a motion to approve.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion. We have a discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next on the agenda is Department Reports and Financials. Council February financials were just put in the folder today, so you haven't had a chance to review them. We'll table that portion until next month. But the rest of the reports were in there. I would entertain a motion to approve as presented.
Motion.
We have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Next on the agenda is the Planning Commission report. Ms. Aaron's not here tonight, but Gary, would you come forward? If I remember right, the only thing we have on the agenda tonight for council is approval of final plat for Mr. Lemons.
Thomas Long Moon Road Edition.
Right. The only thing
I
is-
believe that's all the business.
That's all we had on there tonight.
I believe
And the provision was a preliminary / final last time, correct? Yes. Because there was nothing to do other than a short piece of sewer line.
Right. So this was 4 lots, platted lots, that's been replatted into 6 lots. It's now the Long Moon Road Edition or something similar to that, whatever he said. And everything was fine. All the utilities are already existing, streets already existing. The only thing that they're gonna really have to do infrastructure-wise is add another 220 plus or minus feet of sewer line, 2-inch wastewater line. And so the Planning Commission passed it on the contingency that they have that done before tonight at Bruce's request. But with the weather that we've had the last month, winter weather and storms, that has not happened. But Bruce has been in contact with not only the developer and the engineer, but with the person, the contractor that's going to be doing the work for the wastewater line. They've requested the line locates. They're expecting to have that done Thursday. So Bruce asked that you go ahead and pass it tonight so they don't have to wait another full 30 days. And then we'll just ask Aaron not to sign it until that work's done. And then once she signs it, then she'll sign it when Bruce says he's satisfied with the work. And then they can go ahead and get started that way. So, they're just a couple of days out. It won't take them another day or two. It's just the weather's been,
Will they be done by the time the planning commission meets?
oh, yes, sir. Yeah, that's still
That's,
another week. So, I mean, he's fine with, the planning commission's already approved it. He's fine with y'all approving it, and then Erin she's not here to sign it tonight anyway, which is when she normally signs it, so it wouldn't get signed tonight anyway. So as soon as,
and if you remember, this was presented to you last month with that provision.
yes.
Right.
Yeah, so I mean, we're perfectly fine, and Bruce asked that he wasn't gonna be here tonight. He called me specifically to ask me to pass that along, but he's perfectly fine with, processing it on tonight.
So with that, council, I'd entertain a motion to approve the final plat with the contingency that it won't be signed until it's actually done this week.
Motion.
We have a motion, we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. There's
Thank
your
you.
marching orders. Next on the agenda is the Water Wastewater Advisory Committee report.
Okay, so we've started trying to put together something that we can send out to, really what our plan is, we want to like level the playing field. So they send out a packet, like a new client packet when someone starts. They give them a new customer, they give them all this information. And so there are a lot of people who don't have all that information, because if you've been around like as long as I have, there were things in there that I didn't know about. So we were trying to summarize some of that stuff and consolidate it and kind of put it into that, like that newsletter stuff I was telling you guys about, so that we can separate that so that they have like almost like the cliff notes of like what's in the packet. Because the packet now, it's probably like 6 to 9 pages probably of information, you know, like all the details about like when to pay and when to whatever. So this is just like more like 2 pages of like the cliff notes. Some of the major stuff that they always continue to be asked even after they've given it to someone. So we're trying to get that together. We checked on doing some mail outs. It's really expensive. We were told, Brittany said that the post office wouldn't do a bulk mailing for us to give us a cheaper rate, but we're gonna follow up on that. And then I've got another contact in Little Rock for printing to try to see what we can do. So we're gonna try to come up with some other options, whether it's making it smaller, getting something to get at least original packet things sent out for you guys to approve, to be sent out, or the mayor even mentioned maybe doing a QR code, which I think that's something maybe in the future too, just to try to get the information out.
Oh, on the back of the bill?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we're still working on it, but we went through it this time. We got articles put together. Heath and Don are on the board too, and Heath worked on we're trying to do like a chart to kind of show everyone, like since the 605 Act, like how the rates change, and so that we can present like that we have been fiscally smart and that we're not going to have the increase like some other cities are having because we've been fiscally smart. So trying to kind of explain the 605 and then kind of show where we compare. And then just in that last 2 pages, we'll have like things for the summer of like, you know, best time to water your yard and how to save on different things like that. So that's kind of the plan. We're definitely going in the right direction with it all, but it was a lot to kind of separate out.
I will mention that most, if not all, the material that they presented is already on our website for people to access. So there is availability for that, but they're still working hard on getting information out to everybody. And
Well, it's like I told Charlie too. I mean, I know I'm preaching to the choir, but you know, like you have to hit people with every different direction, because you don't necessarily go to a website unless you've got a problem and you're looking for something. So that's why we're just like, if we can get this information out and kind of, we've given it into a print form, we've given it to a web form, we've given it to where you can go and look on social media. You can find it different ways, and so that we're not always combating, like, because I know it makes everybody feel very defensive of like, we've told them that, or they know that, or whatever. And again, like I told Brittany when she showed us the packet that they give to the families, I mean, it's a lot. And I said, I know you're giving it to them. That's what you have to do. It's just like an employee handbook. You know, you have to give everybody all that information, but most of the time people are like, okay. and then they come back and ask the questions. So that's why I'm like, if we could just simplify some of the things on that to where it was just bullet points of information, that it might make it easier for them to digest and get that information out. And then if they know that, then they can go back and look in their handbook of whatever it is and see what it is. So, anyway.
Okay, very good. Thank you. We have no old business. Moving on to new business. Ordinance, oh, by the way, the first one on new business on your packets, proclamation presentation, we're going to table that for next month.
Is it building safety month gonna be next month?
It's in May, which is why we're going to table this next month. I got a little ahead of myself. Ordinance 2025-05, would you read the title, please?
An ordinance establishing parking rules for the city of Ward, Arkansas, identifying where parking is prohibited, establishing penalties, and for other purposes.
Council, this city has been wrestling with this for years. And a parking committee was established, and they didn't meet very much. And quite frankly, I had been involved with this when I was on city council years ago, and when they tried to ban parking totally on every street in town, which I was able to defeat. Presented before you tonight, and we had a public hearing this evening, which nobody showed up to talk for or against, is an ordinance establishing parking rules. And basically, if there's not a curb on a street, there's no parking on that street. If there's a curb, parking's allowed, but we suggest should stagger the parking to allow for emergency vehicles and larger vehicles to come through. I open the floor for discussion.
I'll make a motion to accept.
Well, we got a lady who'd like to walk up here and discuss. Okay? Oh, hi. Identify yourself and where you live, please.
My name is Elizabeth Ekman. I live at 31 Saunders Drive in the Oakland Grove neighborhood.
Sure.
Are we saying that there is a possibility that there would be no parking on the street inside the neighborhood?
No. Your neighborhood has curbed streets,
Right.
so there's parking allowed.
Okay, so how can we go about trying to get an ordinance for no parking with curbs?
You have to talk with your city council and me to see if you want to do that, and it would be almost similar. We would probably suggest the same thing we do for the speed humps, is to you petition, we'd have you petition your neighbors to see what they think about that.
Okay.
Because when arbitrarily saying no parking within a already established neighborhood with curbs, I think is a little overstepping. That was my point all along.
Well, we just have, in our neighborhood in particular with the parking, we have tractor trailers parking in our neighborhoods with people parking directly across from them, so makes it difficult for even a regular sized vehicle to get through, dump trucks, like all kinds of stuff, just, parking wherever.
So this would help that though, right? This
Yes,
one?
yes.
This ordinance would help that because they are supposed to stagger.
Right.
They can't do that.
If it's where they can't get an emergency vehicle or a school bus
Right.
down there, then we can take action.
Yeah, and there has been, my mom said, a few days ago, there was a FedEx driver that parked directly across the street from the dump truck that's on her. I have the tractor trailer on my street, she has the dump truck on her street.
FedEx,
So she
UPS, and all
couldn't-
those are a breed of their own.
Yeah, she couldn't get through, so it's like, but the dump truck wasn't there.
Right.
Then it wouldn't be an issue. But, yeah, we thought it was for like anything.
No.
Any parking, so.
No,
But,
when I was on city council, no, I defeated that. I think that's an overreach of your government to say you can't park on any street.
well, I mean, if you drive through Austin, their streets look awfully nice.
Any copies?
Yeah, to give her.
Can I ask you a question? Is that tractor trailer, is it tractor and trailer, a full 53 foot trailer?
Sometimes it's the tractor
You can
with the
give it to her.
trailer, sometimes it's just the tractor, sometimes it's a different, bigger vehicle.
Is it a resident that lives out there?
Yes, yes. And then on her street, it's always the dump truck that
Right.
is there.
Hey, don't talk.
Um,
The dump truck is there all the time. It only moves a couple times a month, so it's not even like an everyday use type of thing.
We're aware of that when there's issues like that, but this is general, this is parking in general. So,
Yeah. Okay.
thank you for your input. Council, you have any other
I have a
input or
question.
discussion? Yes, sir.
As far as on residential streets, should we be parking commercial vehicles in a neighborhood like that? I mean,
I don't, oh, yes, sir, hang on a second.
go ahead.
Well, you're discussing what I was gonna discuss.
Identify yourself, sir.
Heath Corbishley, I live at 28 Fair Street here in town, and it was the same thing. In this, is there some way that we can put that personal vehicles and stuff can be there, but commercial, that those need to be somewhere else? Because I've got kind of the same issue that they do in our neighborhood. We have somebody, they work for Greenway. One day he may be in his pickup truck pulling a header for a combine and he parks on the street. Then the next day he's in an 18-wheeler and has a trailer behind it. And it takes up half the street. I think commercial vehicles like that need to find somewhere else. And the thing is could they use, at least where I'm at, could they use the area right there off the interstate, the gravel area where they...
Oh, that's Department of Defense, or Department of Transportation? I don't think so.
Okay, well, I didn't know. I mean, I see a lot of 18-wheelers pull in there and park like overnight or something, and then they're gone the next morning. But, I just think that the commercial vehicles don't need to be in the residential neighborhoods parking in front of houses. I could see it if it was, I ordered something and it was being delivered by ABF or JB Hunt and they were trying to come in, drop a delivery off, and then getting out. But
Different story.
when they're, just kind of like UPS and FedEx, that's a different thing. But when they're parking them there overnight or coming in and parking on Friday night, staying through the weekend, and then heading out Monday morning, I think that those commercial vehicles.
I think this
Need to be
ordinance
gone.
will cover a lot of that because of parking behind driveways and all that different things, 18 inches from the curb, all that.
That's all state law that
All
we
the state
included.
law stuff on that
That we included, yes.
is included in this ordinance. So this ordinance should take care of that. It should
care of the
allow
commercial
that
part
to
of it.
make it enforceable. I don't know that there's a state law banning commercial vehicles in neighborhoods other than, I'm sure there's a weight requirement.
Well, yeah.
So,
That, and
Yeah, I
then
didn't-
also, no hazmat. And then also, is there gonna be like a time limit that one can set on the curb? I know that we have the city ordinance as far as like non-running vehicles or non-registered,
Same difference.
but I know that we've got some in our neighborhood, they'll park them out there, they'll sit out there right up to that 90 days. They'll take it, move it for one day, and then they park it right back out there for 90 days again.
Yes, sir.
So it runs into that also.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
They're playing a game, if you will.
Yes.
And then, but,
So if someone is having this problem, who do they contact? Do they call code enforcement?
no, police department.
Police department?
Also, council, in this package, if we run through it tonight, if we pass it tonight, I put an effective date of 1 May. If we pass it tonight, it's 30 days after we pass it, it would be 18 April, but I went ahead and put it to 1 May just to make it kind of, even, I guess you will, so the police department can have a day to start enforcement. And I think probably for a little bit, there'll be some soft enforcement for a while, but then after they have it for a while, they'll enforce it. But anyway, if we pass it tonight, any more conversation?
I make a motion, we adopt ordinance 2025-05.
So for its first reading, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
On its first reading, call the roll, please.
Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember McMahon?
Yes.
Councilmember Hefner?
Yes,
Councilmember Brooke?
Yes.
And Councilmember Rubel.
Yes.
Ordinance 2025-05 has passed its first reading. Council, I'd entertain a motion to waive the rules for second and third reading.
Motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
aye.
Any opposed? With that, I'd entertain a motion to adopt ordinance 2025-05.
Motion.
We have a motion, we have a second,
Second.
and we have a second. Roll call, please.
Councilmember McMahon?
Yes.
Councilmember Hefner?
Yes,
Councilmember Brooke?
Yes.
Councilmember Rubel?
Yes.
And Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Ordinance 2025-05 is approved with an effective date of 1 May 2025. Thank you, council. Next on the agenda is ordinance 2025-06. Would you read the title, please?
An ordinance amending City of Ward Ordinance 2024-27, declaring an emergency and for other purposes.
Council, this is brought for you because we're starting to run into this issue to where people have damaged our new water meters and new MXUs, and we need to put some teeth into the ordinance to collect for that if that's the issue. I'd open the floor for discussion. Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve ordinance 2506 on its first reading.
Motion.
Second.
And a second. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Hefner,
Yes.
Councilmember Brooke,
No.
Councilmember Rubel,
Yes.
Councilmember Chapman,
Yes.
and Councilmember McMahon.
Yes.
First reading ordinance 2025-06 is approved. Council, I'd entertain a motion to suspend the rules for second and third reading.
Motion.
A motion, we have a second. Motion dies for lack of a second. We'll put this on the agenda for next month.
I do have one thing I'd like to mention or ask.
Yes.
Whatever we have ordinances or resolutions that speak of another ordinance, in the SharePoint, could I have a link?
We can do that.
I figure on the electronic. You wouldn't be able to put one on this, but.
We can do that.
Thank you. I hate digging.
Next on the agenda is council. I sent you an email, ask you to look at some streets and what you think about overlaying some streets this year. So let's have a discussion on potential street overlays, and just for information, it's approximately $200 per foot to overlay 2-inch asphalt, and that's just based off what we did at Bowling Street. That could be high or probably not low, or probably not low, it's probably higher than this, but just to give you an overlay, this is what, if I can bring it out a little bit. Kind of hard to see, council, but on the screen is the different streets have been overlaid over years. If you look at the pink in the middle, that's on the 2026 Street Aid Committee. That's the 3rd Street and the 4th Street and things like that we're going to try to overlay. So we'll stay away from that, if you will. But I have looked at some streets and approximate cost and the number of houses on that particular street. Street Aid has said, I don't think it's law, but they pretty well will not overlay dead-end roads. They're very good at the other roads, and I think we'll get approved for the next round also. But that's a good system. So some of these streets, Stevens, Arrow, no, Arrow's not a dead end. Bentar's not a dead end. Kirkland and Hilburn are dead ends. But the rest of them are in pretty bad shape. Stevens right here behind. These are the older portions of town, with except for Hilburn and Kirkland on their side of the tracks, and so is Cook.
May I ask a question?
Turn the mic on, yes.
On Pintar, is there any room for widening whenever you do the overlay?
No.
Not even like 6 inches on each side?
What they'll do is best they can, but those big ditches, if we did that thing properly, it would cost.
I know properly, but you know,
Millions.
every little inch helps.
We get as
because-
much as we can. The engineers will work that out, get as much as they can, but I can't. I just can't. I mean, if we
Well,
start putting drainage down one side or the other or both, it's gonna be a,
Plus where the water line is, like down that one side is right next to the road.
Because that
It
should be a
is, yeah.
one-way road just about.
something we could discuss at any point, but not tonight.
I think the first three probably more beneficial
Yeah, more
to the town.
houses.
Yeah.
We're looking at, balance sheet on street for end of February. Yeah, we got, $500,000 we could play with. $500,000,
That'd just be the first two.
So it'll be the
Right.
first two then.
First two are both are, well, Stevens is a dead end street, sure, and it's pretty banged up. I went and reviewed all these again today. Aerial, it too needs to be done. It could be done down to its cul-de-sac. And then there's two streets that go off the side of it that could be done at a later date. Pardon me? Yeah, Stevens is bad. If you'd like, by motion, I could have Bond Engineering work us up a bid package for Stevens and Aerial. And we could do them, well, no, we'd have to do them together to get a good price, so, but we'll take a look at it.
I hate to sound stupid, but where's Cross?
It's on the other side of the railroad track, down the end railroad crossing.
The
At
very
Markham,
last one that
Markham,
goes straight into the curb?
right. If you go over Markham and turn immediately left, that's Cook Street.
That one's better.
Oh, Cross, my apology.
Oh,
Cross
yeah,
is in
Cross.
between Campbell and Milam, which is up here in the older part of town.
Because Stevens and Cross would equal 500,000.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, if we were to do that, I would suggest doing Milam, which connects to Cross. Do Milam, Cross, and Stevens. That's a pretty good deal, and that gets quite a few homes, and it gets that,
The Milam would already connect into, what is that?
367.
Street that they just done? What is that?
Well, no,
North
it-
Street?
no,
North Street.
North Street, yeah, exactly, connection to North Street. So, yeah, that would be connecting directly to it,
To the interstate or to the highways.
367, and, under the, 2026, 4th Street right there would connect to it after the fact.
Now, Milam's the one that had the Legacy Farms.
That's on the other end of Milam.
Okay.
Yeah, we did that when we did Baldwin, we did an extra thing and did that portion of Milam.
Okay, I was
This is on the other
So you're
side.
saying
thinking-
Milam, Cross, and, no, Milam,
Let me see if I can bring it up. Let me see if I can bring it up here.
Milam, Cross, and Stevens?
Whoops. Dang it, wrong way. I'll get it here in a minute. If you can follow mine. Hang on, let's do it this way.
We need a third TV right here.
I know.
Cross goes into Milam, right there. North
There's Milam right there by my cursor. This is Cross. And then Campbell's on my list too. If we did all three of these right there, it'd be pretty productive. But Stevens is pretty rough, I'll admit that.
Stevens, which one?
Stevens is down here, right there. There's Stevens right there.
right here behind.
Yeah. Yeah, there's City Hall. So Stevens is right there.
And that's got more houses, so definitely go Stevens, probably.
Well, I mean,
And if it's the worst, it has the most houses.
We got the homes there, metal circles.
I think Cross, Milam, and
Campbell,
Campbell.
what was that cost again for those?
Does that connect into what's already been?
Cross, let's see, Campbell's roughly 33.
75.
Yeah, that's 3/4. That's 500. If we did,
550, 650,
what we can do is do a bid package and do what's called alternative deductions and be able to withdraw a street if the cost is too high. So I'd be fine with Campbell, Milam, and Cross and see what the bids come in.
And you kind of move them across the city. You've already started over there on the other side, so.
Well,
Spread it out.
I mean, we've done Griffin
If you do
Street.
that, I mean, if you do them as you go, I mean, they're gonna tear them up, you're gonna be bouncing around all the time.
Yeah, those houses are, I mean, those streets are old and never been,
Cause that North Street catching a lot of dump truck traffic and everything else right through there because it cuts through the
mhm.
367.
Of course, we did put a stop sign there at 4th Street.
Yeah, it got me a couple times. Where did that come from?
It's been there a while. Yeah.
That's where I would go.
Council, what do you think? I mean, if it comes back and it's just way too high, we just step back. But if we go ahead and do it now, then we can get into, them construction during the summertime.
Ain't gonna get cheaper.
No, they're not at all. And if the current legislative session has anything to do about it, there's talk about doing away with property taxes. That's a lot of our income right there. It's amazing.
Where are they gonna get the taxes? What are they gonna raise higher or less?
What about chip seal versus asphalt?
I'll be honest, I'm not a fan of chip seal. It just doesn't last long. I'd soon overlay, pay the money, overlay it, and it's done for, many more years. The chip sealed my street probably 3 or 4 times I've lived there. It just doesn't last, and it doesn't feel and even out. When you overlay, then it's a smooth surface. Chip seal, you still have the same dips and everything you had before. That's my opinion, but Well, yeah, I'll take a motion.
Second?
So we have a motion to go for bids for overlay, Campbell, Cross, and Milam. A motion is second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. We'll get started on that, council. All right, next on the agenda is my report. Very quickly, SARTS 4 sidewalk project with Chanticleer, Castleton. We have got the RDOT's, we're waiting on RDOT to release the project for bids. The SARTS 5 project for Moon Road, that's the one I told you about last time that we cut out a portion of it because we ran into an issue with floodplain. Still waiting on new engineering design on that. The removal of the remaining homes off of Vacuum, still waiting on bond engineering on construction estimates. The big body vehicle cam grant project will have bid openings this Thursday, and then we'll see how we go from there. Water tank inspection, again, waiting on bond engineering for then work up the bid proposals. And Half Engineering is working to resubmit the engineering design only for the Moore Street Railroad crossing. Council room remodel. Moving day with inmate help will be May 21st. We're going to clear out this room, except we're going to leave enough for Planning Commission to have their meeting on the 24th. Then we'll move the rest of it out. There's a on-site pre-construction meeting March 24th at 10 a.m. You're all welcome to attend. It'll be in here. And demolition and construction will begin March 31st. It's a 90-day contract.
So where are we going?
We will be going in the cafeteria for the 3 months. We and the court also. We'll, at the worst, we'll have just a recording, audio recording or video recording, and we probably won't telecast live. We do a video recording, then we'll just upload it after the event. But we have, by law, we gotta record it somehow, and we'll take care of that.
Can we go teams? I mean, is this not?
It's just a matter of getting it to, no, we can't go teams.
We can't go teams?
No, we can't go teams.
Why?
How you gonna get that on YouTube? How do
You
you,
can record teams through teams.
we'll take care of it.
They have to watch that home.
There is legislation about allowing council members to video in on conference or councils without a declared emergency by the governor. So you could be sitting on the beach and attend a city council meeting, maybe. Could have, but that's not I'm not sure that's going to pass. Let me see, all right, Unified Development Ordinance, that's on hold. And then I've sent you emails about what the legislation is doing. I hope you've read a few of them. The governor did sign the auxiliary dwelling unit into law today. It goes into effect whenever, but that's going to change a lot of things. You now can put a building in the back of your house. It's plumbed, it's hooked up to water. As long as it's got a sleeping, sanitation, and a kitchen unit, which could be a Coleman camper, I guess, take the wheels off. Anyway, it could hook in there, and you could rent it to whomever. It could be a short-term rental. And it's by right. This is not something the planning commission can say no on. It's not something you can say no on. We have got to change a lot of documentation on this. This is going to get odd quickly. Could get, I don't know, I disagree with it. I contacted, County living in the city, absolutely correct. And there's also legislation, and I was watching the committee meeting today about this. I don't know how it came out. That basically does away with all zoning requirements. Period. In a nutshell, but I mean, there's some restrictions in it, but yeah, it's gone. The legislature this year has gone to a very pro personal property thing that you should be able to do whatever you want to on your own property. Which in theory, I get that, but you know, if we want to have, you know, some rules and regulations, I mean, how many chickens can you have? Right now, we can have 5. I guess for this, we may be able to say you can have everybody. Goats too. That'll make a lot of people happy.
Yay!
Well, I have a cow in your back. I don't know about all that, but I do about auxiliary dwelling units is passed. And also, we no longer have control over the 1 mile outside our city limits when the law goes into effect for subdivision development. They took that away. More to come. We'll get this all clarified. This UDO that we've been working on for 2 years, 3/4 of it is probably now null and void. But anyway, continue on. We have ordered the additional license plate reader cameras. I signed an order today about that. Live feed cameras in the parks. We're still figuring out what pole it's going to go on, but we'll get that when we get it. The Consolidated 911 Center is still on track to open May 1st. The updated land use master plan, half engineering's working on that, but I'm about to tell them tomorrow to hold off because if the rules change and there's no need for zoning, there's no need, what's the planning for land use? But strategic plan, I have been working with Metro Plan on some preliminary ideas and things. We'll get more about that. House Bill 1416, the fire district dues thing that we were working on, is scheduled to debate tomorrow at 10 o'clock in the City County Local Affairs Committee. We have.
Need to show up?
No.
Okay.
You can show up if you like. Anybody.
Make sure that everything goes our way.
Well, should go our way, but we'll see. The grants we put in for LED lights for the park and EV charging stations, we were actually one of very few to put in for application for this. So if federal funding remains for this, we might have a good chance, but there's also a very good chance that the federal funds will not be there and this will just go away. And I also presented tonight, you each had a copy, the State of the City Report for 2025. And let me just read a portion of it. And this will be on the website tomorrow at the very, very latest. To our city council, city clerk, city attorney, city employees, planning commission members, and of course our citizens, I offer my 2025 State of the City Report. To be frank, the state of the city is excellent, outstanding, or super. The city continues to grow and new businesses are opening or potentially forthcoming. As I write this, our new Dollar General Market on 38 is nearing completion. With this one new business, not only comes an opportunity to shop locally more often, which keeps tax dollars in our city, also signals to other business communities that Ward is open to new retail businesses. Had a conversation today with a potential restaurant that may be coming to town. Hopefully, more and more retail business will make their home in Ward. Do we have room for growth for housing and businesses? Yes, of course. And as I look back to formulate this report, I want to always thank the men and women who work day in, day out, providing services to our citizens and beyond. From our department heads down to our newest employees, our collective goal, as always, is to provide the best and most professional service we can. I want to thank our city council and our planning commission for the work they do. Without them, none of this would be possible. While we may have disagreements from time to time, in the end, our goal is the betterment of the city and ensuring taxpayer dollars are spent correctly and fairly. And finally, I want to thank the citizens of this great city. It's for you that we, as city employees and elected officials, do what we do, not for one, but for all. Contained within this report is department reports, a lot of charts and things like that they're showing what we've been doing and how we're doing it and money spent and things like that. I encourage you to read it. If you have any questions, please contact me. That is all I have for the meeting tonight. Do we have anybody who would like to speak for public? Did she leave? She left. Oh, come on up. One more. Identify yourself again, sir.
I didn't sign a sheet, but
We'll let you.
just sitting here, I decided to.
Under this one, you have 3 minutes.
Okay. Well, it's actually bringing something up that has been in the past, dealing with RDOT and the water. I've got water standing within 10 foot of the side of my house. Been there all winter with the storms that have come through. Over half my backyard right now is underwater. And I think it's even starting to change the water table a little bit because even other neighbors are talking about how their yard is staying wet because the water's not able to go anywhere. I know, Robin, you've tried getting in touch with or talked with the highway department about getting that fixed. I've talked to them. I feel that it's falling on deaf ears. I think you've talked to them, Mayor, as well.
I'll reach out again.
Well, I'm escalating it up a little further. I'm fixing to start getting in touch with my representatives, my senators. We're going above that lady's head, and I'm going to work my way up through the Department of Transportation.
It's not a lady anymore.
Is it not a lady anymore?
No.
Okay. Well, I'm going to start rolling it up because it's trees and everything else because the ground is so wet. With the winds we've been having, trees are starting to fall over. I had one fall on my house last year that I had to repair that would not be covered because it was on neighbor's property and it was a live tree, but because of the moisture content in the ground, it pulled up the roots. There's been 3 or 4 more that have fallen over right next to my house. Luckily, none of them's in my yard, none of them's in my house, but something needs to be done because it's turning into a swamp. Mosquitoes have picked up last year from it. They're just going to continue getting worse. Snakes, all these other things that we're starting to have issues with getting into spring. That water needs to go somewhere, and it can't because the way that they have the mound built out there.
And it's also a floodplain area right there. I know that because we, years ago, we were going to run a street. That street was going to go through there and connect on the other side and could not because it's a floodplain.
Okay. Well, I knew that it was a floodplain, but at least it drained. But now it doesn't even drain.
Let me see what else I can do. But yes, Representative Wooten and Senator Hill represent us in this area.
I'm going to be getting in touch with them, sending out emails. I'll probably
CC me if you
I'll
would, please.
CC you. I'll probably CC Robin and Stacy, since how I'm in their wards and stuff, and we're going to start rolling it up and try to get something done on that.
Not a problem. Thank you for your comment.
Thank you.
Mr. Don, introduce yourself, sir.
Don Waymack, Citizen Award. I'd like to reiterate on what he said. I live next door over there, and I just recently removed some birdhouses my wife had. They're a privacy fence pole with a metal fence, ranch pole that goes down. We're under a burn ban, correct?
Correct.
Well, when I commenced to pulling, I had 4 of them back there. You could hear it slushing in the ground because in my backyard, literally, it was easy to get out. Didn't have to take a hammer or anything. So the area is changing. I actually pulled off on the exit ramp, and like there's a culvert. It's flooding around one of our lift stations over in that area also.
Right. We do have a lift station there.
And I'm ready to escalate it. If this local office won't respond, then I'm ready to take it to the next level, not here, but our local highway department office.
I do have one question. Was there a culvert under the off-ramp whenever and they've closed that culvert up, that's the issue?
What the issue was, Robin, to answer your question, yes, what happened was when they had a contractor come through there and, you know, they cleared out, which was a good thing on the interstate. What happened was all that mulch from all those trees, they made it environmentally friendly, put it back down in the ground. But what they did is, prior to that, water would drain from our area and it would drain down in that culvert and get out. Well, there's two problems there. The culvert stopped up because you can see water built up because over on them woods by the lift station is flooding. Behind our house, there's a big mound, so the water just can't get out of there.
Okay.
And if you notice on the other side of the interstate, between the interstate and the exit ramp, there's a little dip area. That pools with water too because all the culverts are stopped up because when they came in there, all that debris has stopped everything up.
I will take a look at it again, and of course, you are welcome and can contact your state reps too.
We're not fussing at you, but it's,
I need to take a look again.
I just know my past experiences working with the state when it went up that high on the food chain, and I was on the recipient of that, unbeknownst to me, you were told to get it done.
We'll see what we can do.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Any additional from the council tonight?
I just have a question.
Sure.
How do, like when people have problems like that, or when they have problems on, like some of the things that I called you about this week, or let you know about, like on, that doesn't fall on like city water, or where do you direct somebody to call? Like,
I guess it depends on what it is.
well, I mean, like if it has to do with their property or something that's going around with them, whether it's flooding, whether it's.
Well, if it's inside the city limits, then yes, us. No matter
But
what
when
it
you
is.
say us, who should they be calling? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, am I saying call the mayor? Am I saying call?
You can call the mayor and I'll direct it to wherever I need to direct it to. I mean, if it's wastewater related, it should go to them. If it's street, it should go to Public Works, still goes to Bruce. But on Oswald's, I mean, I've had people send, an email off our website or off our Facebook page to us to ask questions, and we take care of things like that. And we'll direct them. I've had a lady who lived down in the county and wanted her street paved. And she thought she lived in the city because she had a ward address. And I explained to her that she did not, and here's the county judge's phone number, and you need to contact him when you also need to contact your quorum court member, and I don't know who he is, but. I mean,
Well, there were several people that said that they called the water department, and I'm like, well, the water department wouldn't handle that part. But then I'm like, at the same time, if they're calling the water department and they're not getting a response, then they're frustrated, even though that's not the
Well,
appropriate person to call. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I do know that the water department will pass along whatever call they get. I mean, it happens. And if, today we had a call that started the water department, then it went to Bruce, and because of the situation and the questions asked, it was elevated to me, and then I got involved with it, and still have some more questions we got to work through, but we're at that level to take care of things. So, yeah, I encourage people to contact us if they live in the city limits for whatever the issue is. We'll either try to direct it, take care of it, direct you to the proper state authority or whatever the case may be, depending on what it is. But what I get frustrated, and we all do, is when we read about it on Facebook and somebody complains about something but has never contacted us about it.
That's what I've been trying to, because I've been getting tagged a lot.
Yeah.
And so I've been trying to redirect people to appropriate places, and I'm like, I don't always know where to tell people to call or do. There was someone the other night that I told them, and they did find something on the city page, and they did send an email.
Right.
So.
On our city page, and going back to what's available, and on our website, there's a contact us, there's a whole list of, who to contact. Send us an email, and we'll take care of it as best we can, when we know about it. So, but thank you. Anything else?
One, back to them.
Mike. Thank you.
Their properties in the city. Now, the issue, how far is the easement off the off-ramp? That is the highway department's, and where does our property and responsibility take over?
Heath?
From what I've gathered looking at the maps and stuff like that, there's actually a fence there. The highway department has from the fence all the way to the interstate. Then from the fence in is whoever, it was supposed to be deeded to the city. I'm not sure if
It
it's
is.
city property now or not. Okay, so that's the
There
city.
is,
But where the issue is on the other side of the
Okay.
fence, which is RDOT property.
Okay, I just wanted to
And
make
that's in
sure.
that's their property or their easement part of it.
Yeah, we own
So-
part of that down there, and there's also another individual owns part of it down there.
Well, I just wanted to see if there was any way we could help, but since it's RDOT's, no, we
Yeah,
can't.
it's RDOT. That's because I think we had discussed before, if it was on the city side, that the city was gonna do something, but being how it's over on RDOT, the city couldn't do anything.
Yeah, I know
and
for a
it's-
fact that we have gotten conversations with RDOT about beaver dams within their right-of-way. And they get all kinds of upset when we take care of a beaver dam in their right-of-way,
Yeah.
so.
Well,
but-
do we need to build a beaver dam over there? Tell them there's
Well,
one?
they built one for us.
Yeah, it's-
I think they were the beavers. I've thought about, and
No, you're on,
I may go and do it on my own. Go over there with a shovel just to get something, even if it's just, a foot wide, just so water will
well,
start moving.
I will
but-
tell you again, not tomorrow, pretty full tomorrow, I got some other things to do, but this week I will contact RDOT and see what we can get going.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, anything else? All right, council.
I make a motion.
Well, okay, make a motion.
I make a motion, we adjourn for the evening.
Second.
And we have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, council. Good conversation.